them die, would that count as a tragedy, or do they have to just straight up die, like no matter what?
Oh, it depends on if the main character lives. The question about if you're trying to distinguish a tragedy from a comedy is, well, there's two questions. One, does the protagonist live despite what happens to him? And two, is the pull towards death or life? And you know it's towards life if it ends in a marriage. And actually, in the play we're about to read, it ends in 3 marriages.
Oh.
So those are the two questions. Does he die? And what is the pull towards life or death? Life or death. Okay, so we already read that part about the crab backwards part. Go to the very last paragraph on page 5. The undertone to this essentially comic routine is not only a dark irony, but a deathward pull, so one is not surprised at Hamlet's reply to Polonius' solicitous question, top of 6. Polonius, will you walk out of the air, my lord? Hamlet, into my grave. The entire passage with the foolish old courtier has all the earmarks of comic circle repartee, as does the coarse jesting with Ophelia, the sparring with Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, the ironic exchange with the gravedigger. Yet it's clearly recognizable that in Hamlet, one is not in a comic but a tragic realm, no matter how foolishly people may conduct themselves in it. A repartee is a skit. All right, we're going to skip the rest of that page and go to page 7 and start with the first full paragraph. Highlight. Comedies are perceptibly governed by their comic image, not simply by virtue of happy endings or discursive structure, but by their very being, the way in which characters and plot develop, the manner in which people speak, the course that events take, the apparent incidentals that incorporate themselves into the action. Over and above these single works appear universal features, complex structures or qualities and values that are discernible in life only through having been given form in the realm of comedy. As Dante says, or at least as Barbara Reynolds has him say, my sight by seeing learns to see. Stop. Those things that are all about us are noticeable only being fitted into a different kind of totality, in this instance, a comic universe. All right, second line from in that paragraph, circle discursive, which means episodic. E-P-I-S-O-D-I-C. What does that mean? Episodes. Like right now, this is an episode of your life. And then you got to go home today and start the next episode. In the words of Eminem. Was that Eminem? Who's the next episode? Hold up. No, I don't think it's Eminem. Anyway. All right.
So is our alarm clock our theme song?
I think so, yeah. Or it's the death. It's the pull towards death.
Oh
no. What does she say? What does Dante mean when he says, "My sight by seeing learns to see"? What does that mean? What do you think, Julia?
Go ahead and say what you said.
Did you answer it? What does it mean by "my sight by seeing learns to see"? Can you insert any verb in there? My writing by writing learns to write. My golfing by golfing learns to golf. Go ahead.
I mean, as you grow up and see the world, you learn to look out for things that are like noticeable.
Yeah, you learn to read the road signs, right? My reading by reading learns to read. Like you can literally insert any verb in there. Like by doing the thing that you're doing, you're gonna get better at the thing you're doing. My gymnasticsing by gymnasticsing learns to gymnastics. Right, Julia? Am I being funny right now, or was I trying too hard? Just be honest with me. I can take it. Well,
It was
Haley.
hilarious.
Appreciate you, Jasmine.
I found it funny.
Thank you. Such reflections on comedy give rise to fundamental questions concerning the meaning of literary genre. Poetic works, one could say, following Aristotle, tend to, circle, aggregate, which means collect, in 4 moderately distinct segments of the poetic universe: tragedy, comedy, epic, and lyric. Highlight. These are the genres of literature that express the basic gestures, the actions of the soul. Stop. In his book, The Formal Method, the Russian critic Bakhtin indicates that far from being an abstract description of devices, highlight, genre is a fundamental orientation toward reality. One might say, he writes, that human consciousness possesses a series of inner genres for seeing and conceptualizing reality. And he goes on, a particular aspect of reality can be understood only in connection with a particular means of representing it. Stop. Circle conceptualizing, which means to give shape. So here she says again, what she said before in other essays, that our soul has 4 parts: comic, tragic, epic, lyric. And that art, the means of representing art, gives that part of our soul shape. It is with the inner genre of comedy that this volume is concerned, and with which the reality of which it speaks. The particular means of representing it, if we use Aristotle's terms, is the comic circle mimesis, which means to copy or mimic the artistic representation, whereas the particular aspect of reality revealed by the art form is the praxis. Circle praxis. And then the definition is right after it. The action that is imitated. For the highlight, the genres are not external structures governed by rules and conventions, but internal forms, perspectives upon life that indicate the kind of response called for by a particular work. Stop. Not to know their nature is like being deaf to the tone of a voice in which a comment is spoken, and, top of 8, we'll finish it with this paragraph, and blind to the face and gesture that express it. Highlight. To be oblivious of the large generic metaphor governing the climate of a work, and hence the very atmosphere in which its characters live and breathe, is to remain unaware of its deepest meaning and hence its power. Stop. The different contexts result, if we are to believe Aristotle, from the fact that different genres imitate different actions, different movements of spirit, in Ferguson's phrase, to which all elements of a work conform. Highlight. An entire world lies in and beyond the plot and characters, a tragic, comic, epic, or lyric world, and each act within it corresponds to the actual world only when the viewer or reader is aware of its mimetic distortion. Stop. It may be profitable here, however, to be concerned with the genres as representing not so much particular kinds of actions, as actions that can fittingly take place in certain kinds of realms. A work is tragic, for instance, not because any of its analyzable elements make it so, because the action it imitates, that which animates its inner being, takes place in the region of tragedy. All right, we'll stop there. Thank you.